Today I'm chatting with Nick and Miranda Heather, a family who are proving that you don't need a 200,000 caravan setup, the latest gear, or a social media following you to create an extraordinary life with your children. A few months ago, they packed up their ute and camper trailer, both well loved and well used, and headed off around Australia with their kids for a 6 month adventure. Their philosophy is refreshingly simple. You don't need the newest and the greatest to explore this beautiful country, you just need enough. What first caught my attention was their focus of living in the moment. Rather than documenting every moment, they're not chasing Instagram fame, instead, they're chasing experiences sunset, campfires, conversations, and wild encounters, and the kind of memories that will last a lifetime. Along the way, they've embraced homeschooling in a wonderfully hands on way. Their children learn through workbooks, journaling, postcards, museums, history, nature, stargazing, and the countless lessons that come from travelling Australia's back roads. There's not a single iPad in sight, just curiosity, adventure, and a real world classroom stretching from coast to coast. By the time they return later this year, they'll have spent 6 months exploring Australia together as a family before heading back to their little farm and a long standing family camping tradition that has been going for 50 years. I have a feeling this conversation will resonate with anyone who's ever wondered whether there might be another way to raise children and spend time together and experience our incredible country. So, welcome, Nick. Welcome, Miranda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, what got you started? What made you decide to take down along this route?
Well, Nick and I have always done a bit of travelling. So before we had kids, we'd worked up in the Northern Territory on cattle stations and had travelled quite a bit throughout Queensland. And actually, for our honeymoon, we went to the Kimberleys.
Oh, beautiful.
Prior to this trip, our kids had done a little bit of outback Queensland, but not a whole lot else. And we were just super keen to share our love of travelling with them.
And trying to make it work with their schooling too, because we didn't want to do it with one of the kids in their first year of school.
Yeah.
So it sort of managed to get the timing right. It's not in the youngest first year of school. She'll start school next year, and the other two are past their first year. And we managed to, we got a little bit of a farm at home. So we managed to not have too many stock or anything at the time. So just the timing was right.
Fantastic. So, give us an idea of the places you've been. And before that, do you actually plan, oh, I'm going to stay 3 days here and 5 days here or whatever, or do you just wing it?
Yeah, so we are completely unplanned.
Love it.
Going into this trip, we knew we wanted to come to WA,
Yes.
just because it's, so far from home. So we wanted to spend a large amount of our time here. But beyond that, we really had no idea. I think probably for the few months before the trip, we would send each other pictures of different places and go, oh, this looks cool. But that's really about as far as we got in our planning.
So a lot of people said to us, you have to plan certain parts of it. So the Ningaloo, for example, apparently it books out 6 months in advance. When the bookings open, they're booked
Yes.
out that night, and we sort of the time came to book, and we couldn't work out when we are going to be there. We didn't know how long it was going to take to get there. If we liked somewhere on the way and we wanted to stay for 2 weeks or one night. So yeah, we haven't booked anything until about 2 or 3 days ago when
Yeah.
we managed to get a couple of cancellations at Ningaloo at one of the most sought after spots. We were lucky enough to get a cancellation from a guy that had a family too, and they couldn't do the trip, and he said, I don't want to cancel my trip and then a whole heap of people get 1 or 2 nights. He wanted someone to get a big chunk of it, and we took 6 nights in a row, and he was happy for us with the family, sort of situation.
Fabulous, fabulous. So, just for our viewers, explain where your farm is that you normally call home.
Yeah, so we're from northeast Victoria, so about half an hour from Wangaratta.
All right, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fabulous. So, if you give us an idea of your camping setup and how your time is spent, especially I love the idea of the kids sort of almost educating themselves as they go along because of the places you stop at and take them to and talk about and share.
Yeah, so we've got a camper trailer that we bought in 2020, which was an upgrade from a older model one that wasn't necessarily going to be super suitable for 3 kids. Yeah, so that's got a bit, it's got a few years on it now, and it's done a lot of trips.
So this camper trailer, it's what they call a double fold. So
All right.
a bed folds out at either end, and also there's a table in the middle that goes down to a couch. And so
Oh, yes.
our kids basically decide each night where they'd want to sleep, whether there's two of them on the couch and one in the bed, or the opposite way around, or all three on the couch.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
they make their minds up each night, don't
Yeah.
they? Whoever's best friends that day.
Stay with me.
And so I guess all our days are really varied. We like to do a lot of walking. The kids are really good bushwalkers, so we tend to do a lot of hikes. They love just playing, outside. They can entertain themselves for hours just with a pile of rocks and sticks and some sand.
Reminds
Yeah,
me of
someone.
my childhood.
Yeah, someone said to us the other day when they were camping next to us, they're like, your kids, and they were a younger couple, but like, your kids are amazing. Like, they're not playing with toys. They're just making fun out of whatever they can find. And they were making games like that. At one point, they were pretending to like spearfish fish with sticks, even though there was no fish in the water, and their sticks didn't penetrate the water. And then they were playing with shells, and really, it sort of showed us on this trip how you probably need less in life and you
Yes.
just be fine. It's been really good.
Fabulous. So list a few places that you've been with them and kind of a vague timeline that you've spent at certain places, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so when we left, we headed kind of south, I guess, towards Warrnambool and through Port Fairy
Yes.
and down to, sort of along the
Portland.
coast there to Portland. Then we went up around Mount Gambier. We spent a bit of time there checking out all the sinkholes and caves and things like that. And then we went up through, where did we go? We bypassed Adelaide completely and went down on the Eyre Peninsula. Yeah, where
Yes.
so spent a little bit of time in Port Lincoln because we had to get a few repairs done to the car, and then a bit of time in Streaky Bay because there was really bad weather. So we just thought we'd set up for a few days.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
yes, we went to Whyalla.
and
Yeah.
did you
And
swim with the
we
giant?
stayed out at
Did you swim with the
No,
giant
the
cuttlefish? They weren't there yet.
cuttlefish. No, they weren't there yet.
Yeah.
But we did swim with the sea lions in Port Lincoln, which was
Oh,
very cool.
fabulous, fabulous. Yeah. A
Yeah,
couple of years
the kids loved that.
ago, we went to Whyalla and swam with the giant cuttlefish. It was so exciting. I loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a shame we missed it, but we have sort of planned our trip. Not sort of when I say planned, we left a little bit too early for all these things.
Yes,
But it just how it was, and as cool as it would have been to see them, we'll see other cool things along the way.
I
Yeah.
am certain of that. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
how many months are you into your travels now?
So we're about 2 months in now.
Yep.
And so we've now come across the Nullarbor. We did the kind of bottom of WA, like around Esperance, Albany, through Margaret River, went up to Bunbury. And then we actually cut back in across to Hyden to visit Wave Rock.
Oh, right. We've been told about that. We actually go on the Spirit of Tasmania on the 19th of July to do the Nullarbor.
Yeah, it was great. So we spent 5 days on the Nullarbor.
We
And I
probably
really enjoyed it.
we probably ventured out more than I would think more than a lot of people because we had a small setup without a big caravan. We could go into what were they? There was some blowholes like inland blowholes, which is just air.
Yes.
Some old homesteads and some caves, and we saw quite a few caves across there.
I saw some
But
of your photos and thought, yep, we must try and go there.
yeah, so if it's dry weather, it would be fine to get in there in most vehicles.
Yeah.
So we were lucky.
We have a camper van, and it's
Yeah.
not a very big one. So it's my man grew up on Flinders Island, and I grew up learning to drive on farms. And
Yeah.
one thing I'm very good at is driving in sand.
Oh,
We used my family. I had a brother older than me and one younger, and then my mum and dad and an uncle. We would go with two cars, not four-wheel drives, and we would travel for 6 weeks up the Mozambique coast in Africa. And it was a time long before GPS, and we would find a hill because the whole of the coastline was riddled with landlocked lagoons. So you'd get up on a hill and find a track to get down from the main road, which was basically a little bit of a tarred track, and then go across with the letting airs out of the tires, and we had sacks and obviously lots of spades. And then when we got to the place where we were going to camp for a few nights, we would take out the spark plug and put this device my dad had in, would look like a spark plug, and that created air to pump up the tires again. That's how long ago
Wow.
that sort of thing. And we would literally stay and explore down that corner of the beach and down that corner of the beach. And Uncle George and my dad would be fishing like crazy, and my mum was in between fishing and checking us kids didn't kill ourselves.
How
No, it was a
amazing.
great childhood. Yes, couldn't
Yeah.
fault it at all. Hmm.
And then
Yeah,
we sort of ventured into the goldfields after that. So Kalgoorlie and right up to Wiluna and Meekatharra, and yeah, just some. We like inland desert and remoteness more so than the coast. So
right.
we were
Yeah.
looking forward to getting in there.
Yeah.
So I lived for a time in the Namib Desert in Africa. That's on the west coast, and I was a mine photographer for De Beers diamond mine there. And it was a paid to play type of job because I went up in a helicopter taking photos. Gee, that desert is amazing. I loved
Oh,
it.
wow.
It was really quite
That's
incredible.
cool.
Yeah. So you get these opportunities in life. You just say, yes, I can do that. I'll do that and go somewhere else. So your kids are going to have the best memories ever, and I can imagine they're going to be rooting to do it again pretty soon.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
doubt.
So who's looking after your farm while you guys are here on the
Uh,
road?
yeah, so we had some cattle that we sold, and we've got horses that are out on agistment with various people.
Yes, that
And
makes
so, yeah, Nick's stepdad and mum are just checking over the farm every couple of days.
Yeah, and then one of our neighbours is just putting in a crop while we're away, so that we don't have to worry about that.
fantastic. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Isn't it lovely? Community is fabulous. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so continue with your journeys.
So from the goldfields, we came down to Geraldton.
Yes.
And so from here we've headed north. So we've been to Kalbarri and into Denham and Monkey Mia.
All right.
Yeah, and so we'll keep going north to up to Exmouth and then across into Karangini and eventually work our way up to Broome and across the Gibb River Road. We'd like to go back up to Columbaroo if the road's open.
Yes. Mm,
And then, yeah, Darwin and back down the middle, depending on how much time we've got.
great. So, have you done down the middle, as in would Long Reach and that sort of place? Would that be where you'd go?
More through, I guess, from Darwin down to Catherine, down to Alice Springs.
Oh, right. Yes, yes, that
Yeah,
literally in the middle.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So Nick and I have done quite a lot of that. Well, been up there numerous times, but the kids have never been up there.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
And they seem such well-adjusted children. The bits I've caught of your every now and then posting on your Facebook page, it's delightful. So, I don't know. What would advice would you give to people who were thinking, geez, that sounds like a good thing. Maybe I should do it.
I think don't like if you don't have the money or the time to do all of Australia, don't
Hmm.
try and do all of Australia.
Yes,
Like
yes,
we
that's it.
never once said we're doing an entire lap. We knew we had 6 months. We did talk about 12 months years ago, and then we just decided it would be too much with the horses and stuff at home.
Mm,
So we've tried not to say we're going to do too many places in the 6 months that we've got, and then if we do have time to do more things, we will. Don't try and do too many. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
And
yeah.
I think for me, I saw this poster once that said there, did it say something like off the beaten track might be the ride of your life? And I think that's, that's really true. Like the most amazing places that we've found are the ones that, hardly anyone's going there.
Yep.
Those places that might be hard to get to or take a bit of time. So
Yes. And not in the tourist brochures.
Yeah,
yeah,
if there's
exactly.
quite often our outcome is if there's a dirt road option, even if it runs parallel to a sealed road, we'll quite often we'll take it and just see where it takes us. If no one else we know ever travels that road, we have basically. So
I love it. Oh, that's just terrific. My daughter and I traveled in Europe after my partner died, and we bought a car in England and we went over, and they just brought out GPS, like of I can't remember what the the name of the brand was, and you could choose who spoke to you, what language, and everything like that. And I put it in that we only wanted to go on no main roads, just on that. So we went through England to France and Italy and Sweden, Switzerland, and oh goodness, it was just amazing. Sometimes I don't think any people went where they sent us. It was really fun, and I think you just get to see the country, and the people that you meet who are locals share their secrets with you, and I think that's for us really something rather special. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you found that?
We have noticed that a lot of people aren't scared to share
Yes.
their experiences or tell us their favourite places.
And I
Yeah.
think especially like in some of the more remote places we've been to, because there's not a lot of people there, people are always happy to have a chat, and it's easier to meet people rather
Absolutely.
than often like the coast, you've got maybe a huge caravan park or something. Yeah.
So, do you free camp mostly?
Yeah, we do try and
Mm.
free camp quite a bit, only because when you've got 3 kids at a caravan park, the cost adds up awfully quick, and that would probably blow most of our travel
Budget.
budget.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, we do try and free camp, and also we've found some amazing kind of places by free camping.
By doing
So
that, yes. So
yeah,
I'm sort of a bit allergic to crowds and lots of people. And
yeah,
so my partner Ken and I, we sailed in a 10-meter yacht for 6.5 years. We lived on it together. And we sailed through the South Pacific Islands. And that was just the most amazing experience. We went to places where they hadn't seen a white person, just to put that in context, or somebody that had come from the ocean for years. And they were just amazing. Everybody was so hospitable and fabulous. It was great experience. And when we've been back to New Caledonia many times, and we just see the people getting off the cruise ships, and they just go to that place and that place and that place, and I mean they love it and it's grand. But we went to the places that no one else went to, and that's the bit I like the best.
yeah,
I like to go and actually really get to know what the locals do and everything like that. It's great. So I
We
saw
tend,
that
we tend to ask a lot of questions, don't we, when we're in towns?
yeah. So what about, I see you're great into fishing. So are you towing a boat with you or a dinghy, or did you pay to go in somebody else's? I saw a
No, we're just sort of land based off the beach mainly. I think one of the photos you might have saw was when we went across to an island for a day trip.
That's right, it was.
But yeah, we actually just bought a little blow up canoe today, and we've got
Fabulous.
a stand up paddleboard, so we can use them when we
Yeah.
want to. Yeah.
No, that's great. Well, from our sailing days, our boat's on the market now, but we've got a dinghy. So we actually my man reconfigured the camper van, and instead of having the bed facing forwards, fortunately we're two shorties, so we actually lie the way that the car goes. So our feet and head are to the
uh
sides of the vessel. And he lifted that up, and so we can fit a dinghy, the motor, all the fishing rods, and his golf sticks.
that's clever.
And I've heard from just the Facebook pages that I follow, not the grey nomads or the whatever their kind they are, and they tell me about this golf course that's one hole, 18 places across the.
Yeah,
I'm I'm not into golf at all, but I think I might have a chance to beat the man playing on a thing.
yeah, and
Apparently,
you can pick up clubs along the way and then drop them off like across an Nullarbor and drop them off at the other end,
what a great idea!
so you don't have to bring a whole set of clubs if you don't want to.
That's a good idea. But he's got a few golf dates with mates, because when we finish doing that, we're going to go up to Marimbula, which is near Eden, where we have a
Yeah.
very good friends there, and they've got a game coming up. So yeah. Anyway, it's fun. It's fun. And I think the sort of getting glimpses of what people do get you awfully excited. The anticipation waiting to go on the trips is sometimes just as good as the trip.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think had you done smaller trips with your kids before you decided to do this, so they had some camping experience?
Yeah, so we had gone up to the Booyah camel races, which is in outback Queensland. We went there a few years ago and did it was maybe a 3 week long trip, came down through Birdsville, which they loved.
Yes.
Otherwise, we do quite a few like local weekend trips away camping.
Yeah, we did go up towards along the east coast to Airlie Beach maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was about a 3-week trip as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're pretty good at being in the car because we live out of town as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, my kids and I, we lived in Namibia, but my folks lived in Cape Town, and it was an 8.5 hour drive, and literally there was nothing to see for kids. And so we used to count windmills along the way. And honestly, they just fell asleep. They never
Yeah.
had hassles in the car. If it was boring and they'd take a book or whatever, but we didn't have devices in those days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it, yeah. So,
Miranda's parents live about 3.5 hours away from us, and quite often if we're driving, the kids will count trucks or ambulances or
yes.
whatever they can.
And we used to play a game where you counted the number plates and who got the win of that. And Spotto, do you know about Spotto? So
Yeah,
Spotto
I've heard of
is
that.
a yellow car, and then green ones, and I don't know, all these different things. It's just fun. You can find all sorts of things without having to. And I spy, especially on a desert road, that gets tricky. Not a great to spy. Yeah. Oh no, it's great. So when you get back again, do you think that they'll be very excited to go again
I
and do it
think
again?
so.
It
We've
sounds
actually, yeah, we've been talking about a tentative plan for another trip in a few years' time.
oh fantastic.
So they often ask us, what that trip would be like or where we would go from or what we would sleep in. So, yeah.
We
Yeah.
tend to plan the next trip whilst we're on the current one.
Yeah, why not? You got to keep the enthusiasm going. So I actually had a guest on my podcast show who, dear friend, lovely, and it astonished me that she would fly to a capital city and then they would take Ubers to see what was around, and that was their holiday, 3 weeks or so like that. And she had two young teenage boys, and she and her husband decided they'd do it a bit differently this next year, and they went and they hired a camper van or caravan, I can't remember, but camping, and they stayed at caravan parks and things. And she was absolutely blown away by how different that way of travel was. And
Yeah.
they told their kids they couldn't use their devices while they were traveling. They could have them at the end of the day, but not while they were traveling. And they all together planned where they went, and each person could choose 3 places that were a must you had to go to. And then at the end of the trip, she said, okay, so what did you enjoy the best? And she was absolutely astonished. They'd gone to these, special parks for kids, those very expensive things that they get all the rides and that. And both boys had found places that were in nature the best, and she was really
That's good.
excited at that. Yeah, so it was cool.
That's nice.
So we need to enthuse parents to get out there and
Yeah.
take their kids bush, because it's so good. It teaches them self-resilience, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just see their eyes, like our oldest, she's 8.
Oh, fabulous.
When you go to these places like the Valley of the Giants, for example, just these massive trees, and her eyes just lit up, and she's like, "Oh my God, these are amazing."
Yeah. Oh, fabulous. Yes. So, do they write about it as in a little, as part of their schoolwork? Do they write about where they've been?
Yeah, we do a daily journal
Oh,
where
that's
they
good. Yeah.
write what they're doing, and then they've been writing postcards to family and friends as well, where they've sort of talked a bit about it.
Oh,
So
that's a grand idea. Yes, terrific. We were up in the Sunshine Coast staying with friends from New Caledonia a couple of weeks ago, and I have a 5-year-old granddaughter that I send postcards to, and I was hoping that there would be a postmark from each place I went to, but they don't do that anymore. You just got this sort of generic squiggles over that it had been paid for, on the
yeah,
stamp. But she loved receiving the postcards, so that was fun. Yeah, it's great. Well, guys, it's been absolutely fabulous, and hope you have the best time for the rest of your trip.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for reaching out.